Welcome back to another episode of the Natty Teacher. I am, of course, your host. Who else but the Natty Teacher? Today, we got our first pull day of the week. Actually, our first pull day of the month of December. Heck yeah. Very cool. I can't believe it's already December. December 2nd. It's wild. Wild that it is already December. But regardless, man, school year's flying. Just the year in general's flying. It's nuts. But what do we got today? We got some single arm lat pull downs to get us started, really focusing on driving those elbows through, or driving the elbow, I should say, because it's single arm, but driving the elbow down through the lat, getting that good hard squeeze. Again, it's one thing to feel it, but it's another thing to actually have it work for you. So it's great that you might feel a little contraction, get a little pump, but make sure you are getting that good full range of motion without going too crazy on it, and really using the right amount of weight to where you can drive that elbow down through the lat and you can feel that muscle contract. All right, we don't want to just drive it down through and stop here. We also don't want to come way back here. I know you kind of can't see, but we're not trying to go put our arm way behind our back. We're trying to come parallel, maybe slightly behind that, and squeeze through the lat. Okay, I have fallen into many a times. I have fallen into wanting to use way too much weight with this movement. Please, it is an isolation-based movement. It will absolutely get your lats firing and just get them rocking and rolling early on in your training session if you put it at the beginning. Do not go so far overboard with it that you start to lose that connection with the lats. I have done that before many a times, but I've learned my lesson, and I've gotten better with it, and have found some proper weight ranges to use for a proper amount of reps. I would highly recommend for an exercise like that too, that 10 to 15 rep range is ideal for sure. Maybe a little more if you want to, but I'd say anything below that 10 rep range isn't bad. That's just pretty low for that kind of movement. Then after that, we have some upper back Smith rows, really focusing on the squeeze a little bit today. So you will see a little bit of a pause at the top of the movement, squeezing through the actual mid and upper back. So essentially it is a bent over row, just not bent over really anywhere near 90 degrees. I would say it's closer to more of a 45-degree bend at the hips or so. So still driving the bar to the actual waist itself, or belly button area in that vicinity, depending on what's most comfortable for you. That one you could dip a little bit below that 10 rep range. I personally, from where I'm at in my training right now, will continue to work in that 10 to 12-ish, 10 to 15 rep range or so. Top sets closer to that 10 to 12, back off sets maybe closer to that 12 to 15 or 10 to 15. So just as a heads up, but regardless, yeah, man. So upper back Smith rows, then we have a neutral grip chest supported row, some good old straight bar lat pull downs, machine rear delt flies, some single arm machine preacher curls, and then some single arm cable hammer curls. So pretty fair amount of unilateral work for the biceps today as well. So yeah. Then we have some rope crunches. After that, we do have a little bit of direct abdominal work. Cardio was already done this morning. And that's about it, guys. I'm going to be headed home after that. So I'm about to pull into the gym here in about a minute or so. So I'm going to cut it here, but we'll get in there, do some mobility work, some band work, cable work, kind of get the upper body ready to rock and roll. Had a phenomenal push day yesterday. It was a ton of fun. It was an awesome workout. So we will continue that trend into today for sure. So anyways, yeah, man. Top set of the first exercise, which is some single arm lat pull downs, coming at you right about now. All right, to get us started, per usual, we have a single arm lat pull down here. We're keeping that hand in a relatively neutral position here. We're using enough weight to where obviously we are challenging the back, but we're not using so much weight to where we're going to limit our range of motion here. We really want to drive that elbow down through the lat. I actually experimented by using the shoulder, kind of a shorter shoulder press bench here, and I actually prefer this a lot. Felt much more comfortable, felt a lot easier to kind of stabilize. I was using a regular adjustable bench and kind of had my hand up higher on that, the hand I wasn't using to pull the weight down with. But I found that using this shorter shoulder press bench really seemed to help. So again, hand is in a neutral spot. Again, guys, we are just trying to control the weight, get a nice hearty squeeze in the lats. I'm not intentionally trying to just focus on I got to go so slow. I have just found for me that these types of paces, especially on pull down and rowing type movements, really, really help me personally connect with the back. If you find like that you can connect a little bit better with maybe a little bit more speed, maybe a slightly quicker tempo, then rock and roll with that, man. That's up to you. But for me, I find that especially for certain types of movements, this absolutely being one of them, that when I slow things down quite a bit, really focus on getting that good squeeze in the back of the movement or the bottom part of the movement, controlling that retraction, I connect a lot better. Then what we have here is an upper back Smith machine row. So yes, I am not ever going to try to convince you guys that I'm hitting my lats here. Maybe a little, but definitely not the target musculature that I'm trying to hit. This is definitely more towards the mid upper back. You can see that I'm not bent over super far. Body's at roughly about a 45-degree angle. So obviously I'm not standing completely straight up and down, but I'm also not bent over at like a 90-degree angle to where I'm, completely leaning over the weight either. That is a completely different movement here. This one is absolutely meant to be tailored towards the mid upper back. What do we got here? 2 plates and a 10. And again, we're really trying to focus on pulling that weight to the waist and pulling that weight up with that mid upper back. Okay, so kind of a crappy camera angle. I apologize for that one, but so far both of those movements we've covered so far, by the way, 2 working sets. Then 2 working sets here of a neutral grip chest supported machine row. Again, I think a lot of people have the misconception that because I'm driving my elbows through the lats, that's really the area I'm trying to hit, when in fact, yes, of course, you're going to hit the lats a little bit. The main focus that I'm trying to use here, or the main body parts I'm trying to focus on here, again, is kind of that mid upper back. Really focus on getting that nice hard squeeze in the back of the movement, control that retraction, get that nice full extension, keep that chest on the pad, please. That is one thing I see a lot of people do. And again, there's necessarily anything inherently wrong with it, but it is much more challenging when you actually focus on not only driving the weight back, like pulling the weight back, but driving your chest, and sternum area into the pad for stabilization. Again, we did 2 working sets here, got that nice hearty squeeze in the back, control those retractions, get that full stretch, and go from there. Then some good old lat pull downs here. You can see that I'm pulling the weight down to my chest, focusing on getting that nice stretch on the way up, actually getting that brief pause at the top as well, sitting in that stretch. Sit in the hard parts of your movements, guys. I promise you it will only benefit you in the long run. So we did 2 working sets here, again, driving those elbows down through the lats. Find a grip that's comfortable for you, in your pull downs, and really make sure you can actually feel it. I will tell you, after these 4 exercises that, again, are mainly focused on the back, I definitely had a sick back pump, full thorough back pump too. My back was, completely blasted after this. It felt awesome. But again, huge recommendation I have here. If you want to limit your range of motion on this one a little bit, only pull down to the chin, or, maybe kind of, maybe slightly below the chin. I totally understand that. You definitely can use much heavier loads. But for me, I'm not super concerned about the weight at this point. I'm definitely more concerned about the stretch and, how much of a range of motion I'm getting, and, how far I can pull that weight down, and how I'm controlling that weight on the way up, and, stretching that muscle out. So, again, 2 working sets here, felt awesome. I would recommend, especially if you're doing this later on in your workouts, 8 to 12, seems to work really well, 8 to 15, for that type of movement. But, anyways, machine rear delt flies here, really controlling that weight. Again, one thing that I'm picturing here, and I can't take credit for this cue, is actually from Hunter Labrada, who I'm a huge fan of. Top 6 Olympia this year, I think, top 6 or 7. I know at least I'm pretty sure top 6. But his cue was that we're actually kind of releasing that shoulder girdle a little bit. What I mean by that is first and foremost, I have the chest pad lined up to where I can literally rest my chin on it. So it's very much so like the seat is very low. I'm trying to line up the handles as best as I can with the actual rear delt itself. And then we're keeping those arms very straight, a slight bend at the most. Again, this is an exercise I think people try to load way too much weight-wise, when in reality it is such a small muscle group. Hit it with lots of reps, decent amount of weight still, but pretty fair amount of reps. That 10 to 20 rep range is a sweet spot for rear delts for sure, I would say. But really focus on getting that nice retraction on the way back, or contraction in the back of the movement, and controlling that those handles coming towards each other. So don't try to just let them slam together in the front, in front of your body either. Anyways, then we did 3 working sets here of some single arm machine preacher curls here, really getting that nice good range of motion here. What I'm doing here is a simple cue for you, and this I would say for most machines, and also if you're using like free weights as well, dumbbells, barbell, easy bar curl, excuse me. Oh, yawn there, my bad. I would highly recommend driving that armpit into the actual preacher pad itself. I found that really, lines up my arm and shoulder well. Get a nice full stretch, good full range of motion, and some sick pumps for sure from this bad boy. So felt really good. Again, 3 working sets per arm. Really controlling that weight, really getting that full stretch, sitting in that stretch for a moment, and then getting that full contraction at the top, really squeezing that bicep at the top as well, and going from there. So again, 3 working sets here to open up our final couple of movements, focused on biceps. So again, we've covered back, we got some direct rear delt work in as well. Now we're getting some direct bicep work in to end our pull session. So yeah. Anyways, after that, some dumbbell hammer curls here, okay? So 2 working sets here. Felt really good. I have not done dumbbell hammer curls in a hot minute. Usually I would do a cable hammer curl here, but I'm like, you know what? I just want to go old school a little bit. I want to get some dumbbells in my hands, get these bad boys nice and controlled and all that. I think these are either the 40s or the 45s. I think they're the 40s. But again, really getting that nice full range of motion, controlling the weight not only on the way up but on the way down as well. Really allowing that weight to sit in the top of the movement right there. You can see I hit kind of that brief pause there and go from there. So again, 2 working sets here. This is actually my second working set here. So I had already done a straight set of, I want to say 10. And then at this point here, I was pretty well fatigued. And so you'll see me here in a second drop the weight. I think either after this rep or maybe one more each hand. I think this was like maybe 7 or 8. And you will see me drop the weight here, and we did a myo rep match set here. A bit of a rest pause kind of style deal. So, yeah, I think it's right now, yeah. So, again, what I'm doing here is in my head, I'm counting to like 10 or 15, shaking out the arms a little bit. They're full as a house right now, feeling real pumped up, all that kind of fun stuff. Watching the clock, if you see me like watching, just literally watching the clock dancing around a little bit, I guess, I don't know. But regardless, a good little 10-15 count or so, and then we'll finish up this last couple of reps here, really get the last little bit of juice squeezed out of the arms before we went on to some ab work after this one, and the rope crunches, which was not filmed, but I think I talk about that in the outro as well. But anyways, yeah, guys, that'll close it. Pretty much close it up here for my session. It was an awesome session. Felt great. Felt nice and strong. Sick pumps from head to toe, man. I had some sick pumps today, I'll tell you that. So it was an awesome session. Felt really good. And yeah, man, at this point, I will catch you guys in the outro. Should be coming up for you right about now. Pull a session in the freaking books. Man, I will tell you what, that was an awesome session. Great stuff. I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat. Man, I'll tell you what, really getting into those workouts where that focus and that intentionality is behind every single rep of every single set you do from start to finish. Dude, it's like, that's draining. I'll tell you what, but in a good way. I mean, not it's draining in like an energizing way. I know that sounds so like contradictory, those two terms back to back like that. I promise you, you're like mentally fatigued, but physically, leaving the gym, I still have a back pump. And my last back exercise was probably, better part of an hour ago. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's just like, I still can feel that I absolutely blasted my back all in the areas that I wanted to hit it. Biceps are feeling pumped up still. Ended with some abs. I didn't record abs. I did like a 3x3 sets of at least 20 reps on abs. Really nice, slow and controlled, controlling that retraction on the way up, getting a nice full squeeze and crunch at the bottom. Kind of finding my sweet spot for like weight and reps with the rope crunch. I've been kind of using rope crunch more and more. And I've been digging it, except I usually jump weight way too fast. And so now it's like I'm kind of keeping higher rep sets in and just kind of slowly chipping away at adding weight until I get to a weight where it's like that top set is 12 reps or 15 reps, you know what I mean? And until then, we're just going to keep doing sets of 15 or 20 or so until we find that top set and, work with that until it is no longer a top set and more weight needs to be added. So that's kind of my thought with that. But regardless, hey man, it was an awesome session. That was a lot of fun. That was a great workout. I really, dude, I don't know what else even, I don't know what more I could say. If I had more to say, I would say it, but man, I'll tell you, I really don't. So with that, make sure you tune in for the next one. We got a leg A session. Okay, so first leg day of the week. Pretty balanced. Both my leg training sessions now. I will say this, just because it's a priority thing for me, this first leg workout I do tomorrow is pretty balanced as far as, working sets between quads and hamstrings. I will say my second leg workout is definitely more of a hamstring and glute dominant workout with quads. That would be kind of the way to frame that, you know what I mean? Like tomorrow is balanced quad and hams. Friday is hams and glutes with quads, put it that way. So not as much direct quad work in my Friday session, but seems to be working really well. Hams are starting to hang more for sure. Leg fullness is definitely increasing. I can tell in some of my work pants, for example, like in my prep, they were like baggy. Not like baggy, but like looser fitting around my thighs. And now I'll tell you what, I pulled them on this morning and I've noticed it lately. It's like I got to like, and they like vacuum seal right to my quads and right to my legs. So I'm like, sweet, that's good. Like the waist feels the same or pretty similar, as I just almost spit on the camera. But like waist feels pretty good still, feels nice and tight, but the legs definitely filled out. That's perfect. So that's cool. Definitely noticing some really good progress with the legs for sure. So, not a whole lot more I can say. Back-to-back basement workouts actually for my uploads, because I am hitting my push B session in the basement gym as well, because we have some heavier dumbbells there. And I'm getting to that point now where even with my like low incline dumbbell press, my top sets for a while now have been the hundreds, but I was getting to the point where I was doing that for, sets of 12, 13 reps as my top set. And those like my third exercise. Like, I don't really want to put this exercise later on in my training session. Like it's in a pretty good spot here. So it's like, I got to kind of figure out something. So a couple different exercises that I've been using, and heavier dumbbells. So that'll be cool. So you'll see a couple basement workouts coming at you. The next 2 uploads after this one will be, so that'll be cool. But if you haven't already, make sure you like and share the video. Drop any comments, questions, or feedback you got down below. I always open this up, and I have had a few people shoot me some messages, so I don't want to say that this is not like it's never happened. It actually has happened a handful of times. But guys, please feel free. Like, I am a teacher. That's why, hence the name, Natty Teacher. So I love sharing any and all information that I have. That is like my thing. Like I'm good at keeping secrets. I'm bad at holding in information. I will just blah, 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 blah. You get me going on something I like to talk about, we'll talk about it for, a couple hours. So if there is any like comments or feedback or questions that you have that you don't want posted on YouTube, so anybody could see them if they click on the video, please feel free to just shoot me a message on Instagram or on TikTok, just at the Natty Teacher, same spelling, all that kind of fun jazz as my YouTube channel. So please feel free to do that. I will, as soon as I see it, I will respond. I'm pretty OCD about that. I don't like leaving messages unread or anything. So when I do see it, I promise you, I will respond. So, anyways, yeah, man. So, I'm going to go home, get something to eat. Weird order. Make sure, if you have not already, drop a subscribe down to the channel or for the channel. That button's somewhere down below here. I don't know, somewhere in there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see this ugly mug popping up on your feed whenever I upload a video. And you can follow along. Almost to 700 subscribers. Can't believe it, man. It started this just back in May, and be at, almost 750 subscribers at this point. We're climbing up. It's cool. That's a really cool thing. So definitely am, excited to see that. It's really cool. So it feels like we just hit 500 and now we're already almost at 700. So it's really cool that we are continuing to grow like that. So that that subscription really does mean a lot, to myself and to the continued growth of the channel. So I appreciate it, guys. Anyways, God bless. It's chilly here in Michigan. Hopefully wherever y'all are at, it is nice. But for tonight, from the Natty family, and of course from myself, the Natty Teacher, I am the Natty Teacher, and this episode of Road to Natty Pro, one step closer, still a long way to go, is out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.